whenever we're waiting for the bell, we would be out in the woods smoking cigarettes, and somebody busted out a pipe, and so he asked, "Does anybody want to hit this?" And yeah, 6 people said, "Yeah, why not?" So when I was like thinking, okay, I smoked at least half a joint with my friend, so it'll take a whole joint to get me as fucked up this time, because, you know, daddy's like an authority now. Well, I'm watching everybody hit this, right? And I'm like thinking, all I'll do is just one hit, you know? I mean, that's like, that's nothing. So I'm watching everybody, and they're like holding their breath every time they took a hit. And I was like, all right, well, you know, maybe it's just like, who's the coolest? All right. So I'm just like paying attention. So I gotta outdo everybody. So when I took my hit, I'm gonna hold it longer than anybody else. So I'm holding on to it for a while. I'm just, you know, like wanting to make sure people noticing I can do this, you know. I'm an authority on this shit. So I'm like finally letting it out when it come to me, and the guy loaded another bowl and said everybody want to take a second hit. And I know that when I smoked half a joint, I took like maybe 5 or 6 hits, so I wasn't even breaking the ice of being able to be high this time, right? So it came to me again, and yes, I'm like trying to hold it longer than anybody else. And sure enough, I outdid everybody, and the bell rang, and we're starting to head back. Now, one of the guys that was going to be in my class with me, Doug, was there. And as we're starting to walk back, for some reason I'm going, "Hey, Dougie, yo, Dougie." And he's all like, "Hey, dude, no, fuck that. Don't be doing that. Don't be that kind of high, man. Alright, don't be." And I'm like, "No, dude, I'm not high. I smoked before. I'm good, man. It's okay. It's not my first time. But man, I feel fucked up." Now, I was like so messed up that I was like blacking out throughout, you know, throughout that morning. And, you know, I don't even know how I got through class. You know, I mean, I was just really fucked up. And I come to the conclusion that whatever it was that I smoked with my friend when I was 12, that wasn't pot. Because I didn't feel anything like I did when I got high that second time. So now, I am now a true trooper to drugs, okay? I've already broke the ice, man, because I got really fucked up. So I must have reached that ultimate high that my mama was talking about. A few years later had passed. I got a job at a Taco Bell. And I had just got my license, and my parents let me drive the truck to work. So throughout the night, I'm like trying to ask everybody, "Hey man, you want to ride home? I can give you a ride home. You know, I got that truck. It's sitting right out there. Who wants to ride home? Anybody want to ride home?" And this one guy, you know, he was about, I don't know, 26, 27. And when you're 16, that's old, right? So I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll give you a ride, you know, thinking that I thought you had your own car, but, you know, whatever. So I was giving him a ride home. And when we got there, he asked me if I wanted to, you know, smoke a little bit of pot. And I said to him that I can only do 1 or 2 hits, because I know 1 or 2 hits aren't going to get me as fucked up as I was before. You know, 1 or 2 hits is going to be fine. Well, he brought out this thing called a bong. Well, I never.
This has got to be where the story gets interesting.
Bong, it's like kick ass, man. I'm like, whatever. All right. So, you know, and he's opened up the front door and he's like, dude, just walk around and I'll meet you in the yard. And I'm like, dude, why can't I just walk to whatever, man? I'll walk around. So I walked around and I'm meeting him in the backyard. So he brings out this monstrosity. Okay, it's got tubes going everywhere, these like cylinders and stuff. You know, this son of a bitch holds like a gallon of water. You know, and got these tubes going everywhere, but it's got this little bitty bowl on top, right? And this big tube that you just suck out of, right? Okay, now, for some reason, he said, yeah, dude, I call this thing death. I'm like, alright, well, that's cool. But I'm only doing 1 or 2 hits. 1, 2 at the most. I can't do any more than 2. Because I know I won't get as fucked up if I just do 2, right? Well, he lets me take the first hit. And he goes, dude, you're going to have to suck really hard because it's hard to grab, it's hard to get suction out of this thing because, man, it's got all these tubes. And just let me know when you get some smoke. And I'm like, alright, no problem. That's cool. And I'm like, my forehead is caving into my head. I'm sucking so hard. You know, the temples are just like touching, you know, just like sucking in there. You know, my eyes are getting smaller because I'm sucking so hard on this tube. And then all of a sudden I say, alright, I think I'm getting some smoke. And I go to suck really hard. And so he decides that he pulls out this plug, which I later found out was a carb. And so when he did that, all of a sudden it was so easy to suck air. So this thing had probably built up a lot of smoke. And it all of a sudden my lungs was suddenly filled with more smoke than what my lungs had capacity for air. And I am just now coughing my ass off as hard as I can. I mean, I'm just coughing, and I'm thinking this is what you experience right before you die. So I'm coughing and coughing, and the whole time this guy is like saying shh, shh, and I'm like, don't shush me, I'm fucking dying here, man. I'm coughing. I can't just get a grip. So I don't know how long it goes by, and I'm like, finally, you know, I'm just finally calm, right? I've finally got it stopped. Okay, but I only did 1 hit. Okay, so I'm good for another one. He then says, alright, man, it's your turn again. Just let me know when you're going to get smoke. And I'm thinking in my head, fuck you. There is no way that I'm going to tell you I'm getting smoke. Nope. Not going to say it. Nope. I'm going to get my own smoke out of it and I'm going to be fine. Okay? Well, granted, when you're sucking on a tube like this, you know, you suck in and you let your cheeks out a little bit so you can release the air that you just sucked out. And then you continue the process, right? Well, how am I supposed to know that he's going to notice the smoke coming out the side of my cheek? I have no idea about this, and all of a sudden he goes, oh, you're getting smoke. Pops that fucking carb again while I'm just in the middle of a process of sucking my brains out of this thing. So once again, Daddy is coughing his ass off, and I can't stop coughing. And I'm thinking this time the cough is worse than it was the first time. I'm thinking that I got more smoke than I did the first time. So I'm like, oh God. So I finally stopped. I finally stopped coughing, and he's still trying to shush me. And I look at him with a blank stare, and this big ass belch comes out of my throat. A belch that I could never in my lifetime duplicate. It lasted for literally 45 seconds strong, loud, and and smoke coming out while this is happening. I mean, it was loud and strong, man. And I am not over-exaggerating when I say about 45 seconds. My throat hurt after I got done with this belch.